healthy and save any sort of health issue. Now, I have been discussing the ethical aspect of medical practice. Broad-based, I have discussed what is the International Code of Medical Ethics already, but later on, uh, I focused on certain situations in the medical practice where we have some debate regarding the ethical point of view. Out of all these 4 5 situations, I discussed one, that was the confidentiality, meaning by the professional secrecy and privileged communication. And secondly, the euthanasia or the mercy killing. We discussed these two situations where we are confronted from the ethical point of view. Now, coming to the third situation, where again we have certain ethical considerations. So, from that point of view, I will discuss the artificial insemination. What it means, what is artificial insemination? It is basically the introduction of seminal fluid into the female genital tract through the means other than normal sexual intercourse. So, we have to discuss what are the situations where we have to apply such sort of procedure. It is employed when the partners are unable to perform the sexual intercourse. So, in such sort of situation, the semen is taken from the male and then it is with the help of some paper, it is uh, uh, at the level of internal os, it is being deposited. So, what are the situations where we have to follow such sort of procedure? So, this insemination process, artificial insemination, it is being carried out. The one situation I have told you, that the husband is producing normal sperms, but he is impotent, meaning by unable to perform the sexual intercourse. So semen is being produced normally. That is being collected and then it is being transferred to the female genital tract. There is still another situation when, why in that situation again artificial insemination may be required. And that situation is that is husband may be potent, that he's able to perform the sexual intercourse, but he is sterile. Sterile mean is he is not normally producing sperms. So in that situation, what is to be done? In that situation, a semen from some donor is taken and then it is again deposited at the female genital. So, in such sort of situations, when insemination is by the donor, the semen has been taken from other than the husband. Here the importance comes. Here the debates come. But as a medical man, whatsoever, in what setup you are working. You may be working mm, tomorrow in Pakistan, or you will be working abroad. The situations according to the local religious or cultural factors, the situations are being settled. Here, what is the role of the doctor? In case of when semen is taken from some third party like a donor, then consent of both the husband and wife should be there. Second most important point is the identity of the donor, the person from whom the semen is collected, and the recipient, the female to whom it is being transferred. They don't know each other. Their identity should not be revealed with each other. So the identity of donor and recipient should not be disclosed to each other. That is the duty of the doctor. And thirdly, when you are selecting the donor should be healthy, preferably below the age of 40, and not suffering from any hereditary or familial diseases or infections like AIDS. So these are the precautions when you are selecting the donor. Next comes the what is the legal and ethical status of such sort of activities. When the semen is collected from the husband and then implanted in the female or the wife of that person, there is no issue from the ethical point of view because they have a valid marriage wedlock. So in that situation, there is no issue. But here the issue comes when the semen is taken from a third person for who is the donor. Here the debates come whether it is uh, what is its legal status, what is its ethical status. Similarly, the another situation, in vitro fertilization, that's also known as test tube. In that situation again, if the semen is collected from the husband and ovum from the wife, and then in vitro in the test tube baby, the fertilization is being conducted outside the body, and then after fertilization, then zygote is shifted to the uh, that female or the wife. So what is the situation in case when, as far as the law is concerned, such situations are not being handled in our country. So there is, as such, there is no law. But however, from the ethical point of view, the if semen is taken from the husband, it is justified. But if semen is taken from some third party or the donor, it is not ethically genuine, and our society, our religious, does not accept such sort of decisions or activities. Still, there is another situation, that is the womb leasing or surrogate mother. What it means that the process of fertilization takes place in vitro, meaning by outside the body, and then that zygote is shifted to a third person, another female, who offers her uterus to carry that pregnancy. This is again a complex situation. The woman having normal ovulation, but her uterus is rudimentary, so she cannot hold the pregnancy. So in vitro fertilization is done. The sperm is taken from the wife and sperms are taken from the husband. So far, it is the same process in vitro fertilization, and this zygote, if it is shifted to the same wife, then it's okay, no issue. But when it is shifted to another lady and she is offering her uterus to carry that pregnancy, so again, here the both legal and ethical issues they are brought in front. Who will be declared as father? Who will be declared as mother? So all these are the basically again the surrogate mother concept is not ethically acceptable in our society. There are countries in the world they are practicing such sort of situations, but our society does not accept. So this was about the artificial insemination. There is another very important area that is the organ transplantation. Organ transplantation, what it means? The organ taken the from one human being and then implanted in the other person. Anybody during his lifetime has full right about his body and can donate a body fluid, a tissue, or an organ. For example, you are quite familiar with donation. The blood is being donated, not much formalities for that. But however, the organ donation, it is very, very important. So for that purpose, a proper legal framework is operating for that. One can donate any organ even after death as well. So why the law has to be made for the organ transplantation? Because you must be familiar, you must have heard in the media or in the print media or the electronic media. There was a practice during the previous years. The people who were donating any organ to a person who needs it, they were taken money against this sort of donation. This became a very flourishing business in about 15-20 years back. And many people come from rich countries, get their organs transplantation in countries like us or India. They the same happened. The India made the legislation. They controlled this business, and similarly in Pakistan, this has been controlled by making special law. And what is that law which controlled this practice of organ selling? That is, donation of organ is now regulated by an act known as Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissues Act 2010. This law was given in 2010. This law provides the guidelines to manage the cases of organ transplantation. And under this law, an authority has been made who is looking after all the affairs pertaining to transplantation. The name of that authority is Human Organ Transplant Authority. It is abbreviated as HOTA, HOTA, Human Organ Transplant Authority. It is the being uh, constituted by the government in the provincial level. So in Punjab, the government of Punjab that notify the constitution of this authority. There are certain members. I will give you detail of the members subsequently. Before going into the details regarding the authority, we will firstly focus what is the what law this give its dictates regarding the transplantation of the organs. Certain very important definitions they must be kept in mind before going further. Brain death, donor, valuation committee, human organs. These are the various terms being used in this law. Brain dead mean irreversible loss of functions of entire brain, including brainstem. When the word death is used, it means the irreversible cessation of entire function of brainstem. Donor, it is defined as person who donates any part of his body, organ, tissue, or cell. Evaluation committee means a committee which is appointed under Section 5. Basically, this committee is being constituted in the hospital where the organ transplantation is frequently taking place. So, the prior approval of the authority, this HOTA or Human Organ Transplantation Authority, they approve the hospital that here you can perform the organ transplantation. And then an evaluation committee is constituted for that hospital, which comprises of surgeon or hospital administration side and the person who is involved in the transplant surgery and general surgeon. And these are the person which comprise of the as a member of the committee, working at the level of that specific hospital. Human organ mean any part of human body or organ or tissue which is being taken and for the purpose of transplantation. So, donation of organ or tissue by a living person. What is the strategy or dictates or the what law it say how a person, a living person, can give donation of an organ. A living donor is not less than 18 years of age. The person who wants to donate, he must be above 18 years of age. Voluntarily donate any organ or tissue of his body to other living person who is genetically and legally related close blood relative of the person to whom that the organ is to be implanted. Close relative, genetically and legally related. Genetically, that is parents, children, brothers, sisters, these are the close relatives. Legally related mean the spouse. Husband can donate to wife and similarly the wife can donate. So these are the situation. A living person above the 18 years of age, he can donate his organ to the close blood relative. Alright. In case of regenerative tissue like stem cells, there is no restriction of age. If the transplantation is between the siblings, sibling means within one family. For the purpose of this section, close blood relative, I have also already used the description The parents, son, daughter, sister, brother, and spouse. All these are included. And there is another condition that this transplantation shall be voluntary and genuinely motivated and without any duress or coercion. It means the person who wants to donate his or her organ to his close relative, he himself or herself should decide, and there should be no pressure from any side or from the family in this situation. In certain situations, there may be a person who has no such donor. He has not having brother or sister who could who can give donation to that person. So under such circumstances where a close blood relative is not available, then such a person can get donation from anybody else who is willing to donate. But this matter is placed before the evaluation committee that is working in that particular hospital, and that committee will evaluate the genuineness of the case, and then that committee will permit or allow that this person does not have the close blood relative who can donate. So he is allowed to get donation from a person who is not related to. But they make sure that such donation is only voluntary and without any monetary gain. So this because the organ selling business should stop. The priority is the close blood relative will be the donor. Now, the second situation, that donation of organ or tissues after death. Any person who is not less than 18 years of age may, before his death, in writing, duly signed and verified by the evaluation committee, donate any of his organ or tissue for transplantation, and for this purpose may authorize the medical institution or hospital duly approved by the monitoring authority or human organ transplantation authority. So the person can make a will in which he must be above 18 years, and he can make a will that after my death I want to donate this organ. It is very common practice in Sri Lanka. They donate eyes, and the cornea of those eyes is used for the transplantation purpose. In Pakistan, we also get from Sri Lanka a lot of donation of eyes. The cases of sometime in the hospital, such sort of cases come in which there is unclaimed dead bodies. So in that situation of unclaimed dead bodies, or who are in the phase of brain dead and hospitalized patient, in this situation, if some organ is required to be removed for transplantation purpose, the evaluation committee will look after the whole situation, whole scenario. They will establish that there is no claimant of this body and the brain death has taken place, so they will allow to remove the organ. The evaluation committee ensures that all these matters, that the non-related living donors, without the prior approval of the evaluation committee, there shouldn't be any organ transplantation. The evaluation committee must give approval first, and then the organ transplantation will take place. Determination of the brain death, evaluation committee will look after this. They will also determine the propriety of removal of human organs from any living person using brain death protocol to perform it. All the procedural details will be decided or given by the evaluation committee. They also determine the fitness or otherwise for transplantation of an organ in any other body. So the role of evaluation committee is very, very important, in particularly in cases when organs is removed from unclaimed body or the organs taken from the non-related donors. Authority, I have given you Human Organ Transplantation Authority, who is looking after the whole process of organ transplantation in the country, in the province. It has certain members being announced by the government. One is the Minister of Health. He will be the chairman. Secretary, Ministry of Health. He is member as well as secretary of that authority. Then Executive Director, Medical Research Council, President Pakistan Medical Association, President Transplant Society of Pakistan, President Ophthalmological Society of Pakistan, President Pakistan Society of Gastroenterology, Surgical Transplant Specialist, any outstanding member as a medical specialist nominated by federal government. These are the various members. Now coming to the ethical aspects. What is the debate? Particularly when the person is on the ventilator, here the issues come. When to stop the duty of care, when to declare the person as dead. And there is a question mark when you are removing the organs, the person on the ventilator, his heart is still beating, but you are removing the organ. Is it justified to remove the organ when the person's heart is still beating? So, sometime to keep the organs available for the transplantation, you carry on with the gadgets or the ventilator so that they may remain available for the transplantation. There is another, from the religious point of view, the sacredness or sanctity of the body requires its physical integrity. That is the issue raised from the religious people or the religious leaders. The sacredness or sanctity of the dead body should be maintained. So they are not convinced that organ removal from the dead body should be done. However, there are various parties, they allow it, but still they are the people who debate on it. So, the very important, when to declare the patient as dead. So, clinical evaluation, the person is on the ventilator, you have to watch the cessation of circulation, otherwise the criteria given by the WHO to establish the death, cessation of circulation, respiration. No, if the person is on the ventilator, he has respiratory support. In that situation, you have to establish whether the person is having the status of the bilateral fixed dilatation of the pupil, complete absence of reflexes to both natural and to profound pain, and falling blood pressure in spite of the fact that increasing amount of vasoconstrictive drugs are being administered. So these are the points which are to be considered. And when the person is on the ventilator, you have to establish the absence of reflexes. And what about the respiration? You give a chance to stop the ventilator, and if the spontaneous breathing is not restored within 5 minutes, then the person is declared as dead, that his brain function has lost. So that person is declared, when the brain death has taken place, the person is declared dead and his physical status will be declared. Now the persons who should certify the death of such person, so it is at least two doctors should certify, and it is better, and rather it should be observed that no doctor who is involved in the transplant surgery should be in the certifying doctors who are certifying the death, because they may have interest in early removal of the organ. They may give the wrong decision. So they should not be included in the doctors who are certifying the death. So this was about the organ transplantation. Here, what is the ethical aspect, that the when person is on ventilator, whether he should be declared dead or not. That is the debatable point. Otherwise, the legal protection of removal of the organ is there. All right, this was all about the two aspects. One is still remaining, that is the how we follow the certain ethical principle in the biomedical research. Inshallah, we will discuss in the next time. Okay, that's all.